What is going on, FA Nation? John Impemba here with Henry Wilson. Welcome into the Fantasy Alarm MLB DFS Game Day Playbook Show. We're taking a look at today's 12-game main slate. I was on the playbook that just went out published for all of you live right now. Should be a pretty good one here. Henry, how we doing?
Yeah, we're doing pretty good. It's already been a good day. I took Jack Flaherty to have over 5.5 strikeouts, and it took him 6 batters to do so. So if that's any sign for how today is going to go, it's going to be great.
That is quite an impressive feat. We know the Cardinals obviously maybe a little motivation for Flaherty here today as well against his former team, but some elite strikeout numbers for Jack Flaherty so far this season. Even though the ERA hasn't looked too great, the strikeout numbers have certainly popped in there for sure. We do have some good pitchers on tonight's slate, especially up at the top. Some guys maybe surprising. Reynaldo Lopez's start to the year. I don't think many people expected the way he would get things going. Freddie Peralta is your top price guy. Spencer Turnbull is your third highest price guy on the slate today. So some surprising names, some interesting value. We certainly appreciate you all that are tuning into today's show. If you haven't already hit that like button, it is a free way to support the work we do here on the Fantasy Alarm channel here. Getting in here, can the man pop in? Alec Boehm continues his domination. Yeah, he is ridiculous. Again, and maybe we'll get some Alec Boehm in our lineups here tonight. They got a lefty on the mound they're facing in Tyler Anderson here for the Angels, so probably some foresight there with some Alec Boehm, maybe some Phillies in lineups here today. But we definitely have some favorable matchups that I know that we are going to be looking at targeting here today. I'm going to pop into chat today's MLB playbook for those of you who haven't already tuned in and checked it out on site. If you're a Fantasy Alarm member, you have access to the Fantasy Alarm playbook, and we'll have the rostership numbers updated following today's stream there, as well as you can get an idea of where everybody is going with their lineups. Henry, let's start off at the pitching position. We go position by position here. So I mentioned Freddie Peralta, Reynaldo Lopez, Spencer Turnbull are your three guys above $9,000. Cover of the playbook today is Reynaldo Lopez, again, just targeting that Seattle Mariners lineup. Highest strikeout rate in baseball against right-handed pitching. You're getting a little bit of a discount off Freddie Peralta. And our guys only allowed 2 total earned runs all season long through 4 starts.
Yeah, he's looked awesome. The strikeouts have been there. We know Seattle can strike out a lot. I think, you really can't go wrong with that guy. I honestly really like all of the top 3 guys. Like, some people might think that Reynaldo Lopez and Spencer Turnbull are like too high priced. Those haven't been big names, but like they've both been pitching awesome and have great matchups. Like, I don't think these prices are insane for them. And even Freddie Peralta at 10K, he kind of just had a rough outing, gave up 5 earned runs against the Pirates, but he's Freddie Peralta. He should bounce back, and it's the Rays. I think he's going to be fine. I like all 3 of these guys. I'm probably not going to play a whole lot of any of the 3 of them, though, just because I really like some of the middle options today. Sure. So, again, not really anti these guys. I'm just so much pro some of the other cheaper guys that I don't know if I'm personally playing them a ton.
Sure. I did the playbook today. I do have some guys in this 8K tier. Where are you looking to start some builds then today?
Yeah, I think the number one guy that jumps out for me today is Logan Webb. I think he's way too underpriced. I get that he's not a strikeout guy. He's only gotten 5 strikeouts as his highest all season. But, like, look at the numbers. He doesn't need the strikeouts to actually be producing well above what he's priced at. Yeah. The fact that he's gone at least 7 innings in each of the 4 outings, like the last 2 outings, over 25 points, despite no higher than 5 strikeouts. Like, he doesn't need the strikeouts to be a quality pitcher, even in this format. And the Boston Red Sox have one of the higher strikeout rates. They're, lost lefty Tristan Casas. Yeah. Like, they're kind of decimated. I don't think they're super scary and are going to strike out quite a bit. So maybe he even spikes a strikeout game, but he doesn't have to for him to be worth it.
Yeah, the ground ball rate for me is what's insane. 18 ground ball outs, 14 ground ball outs, 14 ground ball outs, 15 ground ball outs. There's a reason he's only allowed 3 total earned runs over his last 4 starts during that stretch. He can't score runs if you're just, putting holes in the ground against him, not him making a lot of hard contact. I did bring this point up to Howard on the stream this morning, just kind of playing devil's advocate, just sort of pointing it out. Perception, not always reality. Boston over the last 2 weeks, the 4th highest WOBA against right-handed pitching, and ISO over 200, 263 batting average, just a 20% strikeout rate. Again, Logan Webb, not a great strikeout pitcher anyways, but something is clicking with these Boston bats. It could certainly be the fact that they just faced the Cubs and the Pirates pitching staffs, not necessarily the top of the market there when it comes to who their opponents were, but for whatever reason, the Boston offense is rolling a little bit, but I'm kind of in agreement with you. Logan Webb should be much higher priced than this, getting knocked down due to strikeouts. Maybe a much better play over on FanDuel today. He's more expensive on FanDuel, but you get the quality start bonus. You only lose points for runs allowed, not hits or walks or anything like that there. So Logan Webb could be a good FanDuel play today, but I do like him in the mid-tier here as well. Where else were you looking on this slate? Anybody in the 8K range other than Logan Webb here?
I mean, look, I love Luis Castillo. I'm going to consider him even against the Braves. Like, there's almost no pitcher that I'm willing to take against the Atlanta Braves, but Luis Castillo is one of them. I think he is just an ace of aces. Like, he is amazing. I think he can absolutely shut down this Braves team. He's going to be kind of a contrarian play probably because I don't think a lot of people are going to go to him against the Braves. I haven't seen the ownership numbers, but I'm going to guess it's going to be really small. And even against the Braves, like, he can very easily go out there and put up 30 plus points because he's just that good of a pitcher.
Yeah, I assume we'll get some updates once we get more of these official lineups coming in as they are now. As of currently, he is the 5th highest rostered starting pitcher, still around 15%, which feels high for me, kind of given the matchup, but Peralta, Webb, Keller, Reynaldo Lopez, all higher than him in ownership. I want to get to Mitch Keller here because Howard immediately kind of jumped to that matchup. He's got Oakland. It's Mitch Keller. Like, Oakland's always an easy target. I was like, are they though? I mean, like, some of those guys are starting to come around, and Mitch Keller's looked kind of trash. He'd be like an okay tournament fade for me if 20+% of the field are playing him right now. We'll talk some Oakland A's bats that I kind of have in my playbook today, but where are you when it comes to Mitch Keller here?
Yeah, I've kind of never really been a huge Mitch Keller believer, and like that's bit me sometimes because he has pitched really well. But again, I just don't think he's an automatic here against Oakland. It seems like, oh wow, he's a really good strikeout pitcher. He's gonna go shut down Oakland. But yeah, Oakland's hitting better this year than they did all of last year for sure.
Yeah.
And I just don't know if I buy Keller's abilities. Like, I just think the blow up potential, even against a bad team, like, is way too high for the upside that he brings. So I'm really not interested in him.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. He's been hittable. Obviously, teams with varying levels of offensives that haven't had too much trouble against him. Again, I'm not calling out here and saying Oakland's been a world beater because they definitely have not been. But they're a team 187 ISO over the last week against right-handed pitching. So. I've been playing my guy Tyler Nevin lately. He homered last night at 2 hits. He's only $2,400. We'll get to him in a moment. But there's some guys in oakland that I think are kind of interesting here, where I'm not as high on Mitch Keller at that price point. If we're going below the 8K range, Cole Reagans always has some strikeout appeal if you're not buying into Toronto. Bender really liked Landon Knack here in this spot against Arizona. He thinks Arizona's offense not really as good against righties as lefties. And then Simeon Woods Richardson here is pretty considered the value play of the day, even though the White Sox have continued to torment us.
Yeah, the White Sox have been kind of maddening lately, like on both ends. But I think Simeon Woods Richardson is rightfully one of the go-to cheap plays today. He's obviously very talented. He's looked really good in his last 2 outings. He gives you the strikeout upside in a matchup against the White Sox, and a good win potential too, because I don't really trust Soroka at all.
Right.
So I really think that he is a great cheap option here today. But I do also want to shout out to Cole Reagans, who, you brush by him there, but I want to give him a little love because I do really like Cole Reagans. And I know that the last 2 outings have been kind of down. He obviously had that big blow up against Baltimore that sucked, but he really bounced back fine against Toronto. He went in his last game, went 5 innings, only gave up 3 hits. The problem there was only 4 strikeouts, but Cole Reagans is such a good strikeout pitcher when his arsenal's working, which most of the time it is. Like, he's going to give you 7, 8 strikeouts pretty easily. And so I kind of think that even going up against Toronto for the 2nd time in a row again, I bet those strikeouts come back a little more. And I just really believe in his talent. So I'm willing to take this under 8K price for someone who I think can easily be like a 9K, 10K pitcher once he starts really going.
I agree with you. Would you go any of the value plays under Richardson? Does anybody down here tickle your fancy? We've talked a lot about the Houston struggles, but did you have any faith in Carlos Carrasco?
Not at all. No, I know Houston's been struggling, but they still scare me way too much with like Altuve, Kyle Tucker, Jordan Alvarez. Those are bats that I'd be happy to play against Carrasco actually.
Sure.
So I like Carlos Carrasco as a person. I always am rooting for him to succeed. I am not putting him in any lineups.
Okay. Yeah, I looked at Carrasco. Obviously, the last hour against Boston, not too great, but the pitch count in the last couple of games have been fine. You limited some damage. The 5 walks haven't helped them, but I'm not pitching him against Houston either. Let's go over to the catcher position here. And guys, if you have any questions, feel free to throw them into the chat. If you haven't already, hit that thumbs up button. Again, a free way to support what we're doing here on the Fantasy Alarm YouTube channel. At the catcher position, again, I generally look to go value, but if we are looking up at the top, William Contreras against Anderson, certainly Alexander rather, certainly is someone that sticks out to me. I like Ryan Jeffers at $4,400 there as well as 2 spend up options at catcher.
Yeah, I also really like just a little farther down Jonah Heim against the lefty. He's kind of been a lefty killer so far in his career. And so I kind of like that he's batting 5th there. Again, I like Mackenzie Gore a bit as well, as a pitcher, but not really shying away from him though. So I think he's a pretty good option there in that matchup.
You got Patrick Bailey against Cooper Criswell here for Boston. Again, I don't know how long Criswell is going to be pitching in this game, but Bailey hitting 5th. I think there's some interesting giant potential in the lineups here today. Historically, Yan Gomes has hit lefties pretty well, but I think age just might be catching up to him at this point. So I don't find myself really running to that matchup. Sanchez could be in the lineup against Alexander. You got Reese McGuire against Webb. I mean, is there any lock-in value plays for you today?
I do like Gary Sanchez. I think he's probably for sure going to be in the lineup against Alexander. And Alexander's been pitching okay, but I think you just have pretty good home run potential always there with Gary Sanchez when he's facing a lefty. So I think he's a pretty good cheap option today.
Yep, agreed with you. And then finally, my guy Omar Narvaez is in the lineup. He's been out of the lineup the last couple of times I have recommended him, but he's starting. I know he's only hitting 170, but he's 2,400. And if you're just looking to punt the position, I think he's a plug-in in that spot. Moving over to a more fun position, we have first base here. If you're looking to spend up today, I like Josh Naylor. Going up against Hunter Brown. Where are you looking to go?
I also really like Josh Naylor. He's been so great this year, and don't really trust Hunter Brown at all. We've seen how poorly he's pitched so far this season, so could be another blow up there. But if not going all the way up there to someone like Josh Naylor, I don't know if I want to pay all the way up for the top guys today in some of those matchups. So I kind of really like Rhys Hoskins today too.
Yeah, definitely. Rhys Hoskins in the middle of that Milwaukee lineup there. Just like a small update, Jose Abreu got optioned to the West Palm Beach training facility. Unless it's a joke. Is he being optioned? Honestly, that's their spring training facility. I mean, that's kind of rough.
Interesting. I mean, he has been pretty. Yeah, Astros to option Jose Abreu. Wow.
Right.
With the promotion to Joey Loperfido.
Yeah, who's not on this player pool. So,
no. But okay, makes sense. He's been struggling real bad. So, all right.
All right. So we have Hoskins there in the mid tier. Turner homered twice yesterday. If you want to go him against Reagans, I like Kirilloff. I like all Minnesota today. Now the problem with them with Minnesota today, other than other slates, is they priced everybody up all before we were getting all these Twins bats under $4,000. Some under $3,000. Now they're pretty much all above 4K, except for Larnach, who we'll talk about in the outfield. But I'm in on Minnesota again today. Probably no surprise to anybody there.
Yeah, I am as well. Even with a little bit of the price jump up, Soroka he's going to fill up the strike zone. He's hittable. I think the Twins just provide really good value. I think down at this end, I also will give some love to a guy you've shouted out a lot, Lamonte Wade Jr. Yeah. I think this is again good matchup here against Criswell. Obviously, Criswell's not threatening at all, and so with a good lefty-righty matchup here, Wade is always a really quality hitter for how cheap he is there.
Yeah, you can get again, the Giants' offense is not explosive by any measure today, but you can get exposure to their entire lineup basically for under $4,000. So Conforto's in the outfield, super cheap, hitting 4th today. Lamonte Wade. We saw, their catcher Bart's hitting 5th. I mean, they just have a whole bunch of value. Or Bailey rather is hitting 5th. You got a whole bunch of value in the lineup here today. Let's go to second base then. Mookie Betts is your top price guy. Altuve, Ketel Marte, Ozzy Albies. Bets against a lefty has always been a chalk play for us. Are you willing to spend the $6,600 here?
Man, yeah, 6,600 is a lot. It's not that I'm never willing to pay outrageous amounts for Mookie Betts, but I'm probably not today just because I really like Jose Altuve in this matchup, actually.
Okay.
I already said I kind of like some of those Houston bats against Carrasco, and he's just been hitting righties like crazy this season. He kind of, for his career, was more of a lefty killer, but like he hits everybody. So it's not like we're shying away any matchups with Jose Altuve, but he's just been so dominant with even the Astros struggles that they've had. Hasn't been because of Jose Altuve.
No.
Like, he is crushing the ball. And so I think this is a quality matchup for him.
The middle of their infield has been fantastic at the plate. Jeremy Pena, Jose Altuve, and basically, unless you were can live in Mexico, he had been struggling there as well. Edouard Julien, as I mentioned, priced up to $4,400 now, but for a good reason. Guy's hitting 355 with 3 homers over the last 10 games. Again, no problems going with him against Soroka there. Nico Horner is down to $4,200. I don't mind him against Sean Manaea here. Anybody else for you in the mid tier or value tier at second base?
I really like the guys you said. I was a big time Edouard Julien believer, so I'm really glad that he's like actually bouncing back and hitting the ball well now, and you have a good matchup. Mm-hmm. But then below those guys, I think it starts to get ugly pretty quick. Obviously, like, don't really want to be getting the Boston bats against Webb. I don't really want to take like Kevin Biggio when it's a lefty-lefty matchup against Reagan. So a lot of these like cheaper options that we normally go to kind of aren't very viable today.
Yeah, I agree with you. We generally find some value here, but I haven't found too much. The only name I'll call out, and we don't have the official Pirates lineup yet, but if Alika Williams is playing, I've been plugging him into some lineups as a value play at second when he's been active. Dude's hitting over 300 on the year. I mean, you can get a guy that's going to just get on base for you. Got to hit in every game but one this season for near mint price. I don't mind some Alika Williams. The lefty's on the mound, so there is a chance he plays today. So just can't keep that on your radar. If we get that Pirates lineup before roster lock, or you give yourself some lineup flexibility for the late slate there, that maybe Alika Williams could be on your radar. Third base, Jose Ramirez is the cover of the morning show. He gets a Hunter Brown matchup. Ramirez, strong split side for him historically, has been against righties. Hunter Brown getting smashed by everybody this year. He's $5,800. He's my core play of lineup builds today.
Yeah, I mean, you can't go wrong with that. I think that's I have no arguments against Jose Ramirez. It'd be kind of foolish, I think, if I did. I think, the clear plays at the top here, you're either going Jose Ramirez or you're just going with Alec Bohm. Like, if you're paying up at these ends, those two seem like the very clear, obvious options. I'm not sure why you would go elsewhere at the top end besides those two.
Right. Even if you're like building stacks, like your stack should almost be built around one of those two guys as like a one-off play, right? Like, I'm going to stack these guys. All right, well, I'm going to stack Houston today, but I'm not playing Bregman. I'll play Bohm or Ramirez, something like that to the effect. In the mid tier, there wasn't a lot for me down here. Again, Brian Hayes has historically hit lefties pretty well. $4,300 for him. Morel's actually hit righties better than lefties, but again, the power could be there. I don't know. There wasn't much for me for value. What did you think?
Yeah, I like Brian Hayes. I actually think that he's a really good value. Again, Alex Wood, don't really trust him to shut down the Pirates. I think the Pirates are still kind of sneaky good. I know they're slowed down a bit, but their offense isn't terrible. Yeah. Brian Hayes is the good matchup there. So if I'm going to go at that cheaper end, he's definitely the one that sticks out the most to me.
Yep, I agree with you. The guy that I was talking about earlier, Tyler Nevin, down here at $2,400. He has third base and outfield eligibility. 900 OPS over the last 10, 3 homers, a stolen base, 306 batting average. Again, I've been playing Tyler Nevin. I played him as the one-off against Baltimore. He homered. I went right back to the well yet last night. Homered again. If you're just looking for, again, no reason to punt third base, but if you needed to punt third base today, Tyler Nevin slots in there, or you can use him in the outfield where I've been using him as my value outfielder on recent slate. So just keep that in mind. If you're building and you need a cheapie, he's hitting the middle of their lineup and showing some power right now. Shortstop position, where are you looking up top? Is there anybody other than Ellie that you're playing, I guess is the question?
Yeah, there is. I also will go to CJ Abrams. Okay. Again, not stacking the Nationals by any means, for sure, but as a one-off play, CJ Abrams has been legit. I like John Gray too, but like CJ Abrams has just been crushing everybody. So someone who provides that like crazy power and speed, just like Ellie does, but he's a bit cheaper. Like I am very happy to plug CJ Abrams into my lineup.
Yeah, we saw this last year. The beginning of the breakout for him, had a great season, and then it's that power is just carrying over. 1,000 OPS for CJ Abrams for the first month of the year. I don't think many people had that on their bingo card. And the Nats still don't strike out, so John Gray could be in it here today for him. Moving down again, Pena. I like 4,600 though. Price is starting to come up. I don't mind Ha-Seong Kim either at 4,300. I know it's not against a lefty, but with a righty on the mound, bring some stolen base upside with him there. So 2 mid-tier plays that I've had on my radar today.
Yeah, I also like Carlos Correa. I know Correa's been pretty wildly disappointing for just a while now, but now that he's healthy, back in the lineup, like, look, if he's playing, he can hit. We've seen it. I feel like it's going to come around eventually. And for this cheap, like, again, if you're stacking some of those Twins, especially against Soroka today, like, I think Carlos Correa is an intriguing play.
Sure. Yeah, I wonder if like the knees that they always were worried about with those contracts being voided and all that stuff, if like it's just taking away some of his power, or like I don't know. But
I don't know.
Yeah, since he's left Houston, he certainly really hasn't been able to be the same player there. Blaze Alexander, you can plug in at $3,900. He feels pretty safe. We'll see if Willie Castro's in the lineup or not. Actually, I think I saw our Twins lineup. Let's see. Do Twins lineup? Castro is playing today. He's hitting 8th. So if you wanted to do some Willie Castro down here against Soroka, again, he's going to hit from the left side. He's on fire right now. 400,000 OPS over the last 10. He got off to a very slow start, but starting to come around. So if you wanted to punt with some Willie Castro, you certainly can. I'm not going much else down here. Again, Alika Williams is there. If he ends up playing, I would consider that, as I mentioned, at second. So
yep.
Outfield. A lot of options up at the top. You mentioned liking Houston guys. Well, Tucker and Alvarez are both there at 58 and 56.
Yeah, I think Kyle Tucker is definitely my favorite of this top end. Like I said, really like the Astros today, and Kyle Tucker is the best hitter in the lineup. I think even next to Altuve and Alvarez, I do think Tucker is their best hitter, and he's shown it recently. He has homers in the last 2 games. And sure, like that was the Mexico City series. So like, don't overblow the amount of hits that happened in Mexico
City. Those games had 16.5 run totals. So
yeah, but still, even coming back to earth and not being a million miles up in the sky to play in Mexico City, I still like Kyle Tucker. Matchup.
I'm agree with you. I like Adolis there at $5,600 as well. Kyle Schwarber this year is hitting 300 against lefties and 120 against righties. So you got the lefty matchup for Kyle Schwarber here, which apparently is something he's doing well. So if you wanted to do a contrarian Phillies play with Schwarbs, I think you could at $5,500 just based off the splits this year. Steve Kwan, I've kind of laughed at the 5K price tag all season long, but this is a spot I guess I would pay it given the way he's playing in the Hunter Brown matchup.
Yeah, I mean, he just keeps delivering. He even has 3 homers on the year. You don't expect a home run from him, but like he's proven that he can provide the value without it, because he can easily pile up 3 or 4 hits in a day. Yeah. And so especially if you want to like pair him up with Jose Ramirez, if you're playing him and can make that work, totally. I think you can. Kwan's not someone I would normally think like, oh yeah, 5K, we should be paying for him, but maybe it makes sense.
no home run upside really at all to speak of, but I don't know. Teoscar against the lefty at 4,900 again. Montgomery, whatever you think of him as a pitcher, Teoscar does hit lefties pretty well. Then we go down into the mid-tier range. Again, Conforto, as I talked about, he's $4,500 hitting cleanup for San Francisco. If you liked the Giants today, you can go there. Ian Happ's $4,500 as well. Anybody in this mid 4K range for you?
Yeah, I like both those Giants guys, Soler and Conforto. Again, like those are good hitters for pretty cheap, I think, just because the Giants lineup has been so bad. But against Criswell in Boston, like it's a pretty good spot for them to actually provide some offense. So like I'm totally okay with kind of taking some of those cheaper Giants guys who are good hitters.
Yeah, no, 100% in agreement with you. I like Fraley against Darvish as well. Nimmo against Assad's okay. Buxton against Soroka, I'm fine with there. Let's see. If a Story's in the lineup again, if I'm playing Oakland, like you kind of need a Story Ruiz there if he's active today, just for the potential for stolen bases. Kirilloff is 41. We talked about him at first base. Our guy, Cam the Man, mentioned Larnach there. He's up to 37 or 3,800 now, but for sure, a guy, I wrote him in the playbook, a favorite value of mine today.
Yeah, absolutely. I've always really liked Larnach. I had kind of given up hope on him of actually becoming a good major league hitter, but here we go. Maybe it's here. Like maybe he's actually figured things out. We see that 2 hits in each of the last 3 games. Like he keeps hitting and scoring a lot of runs in that offense right now. So yeah, I totally buy in the hot streak a little bit.
Yeah, 100% there. I think Jackson Merrill against Nick Martinez is fine. Merrill's on a little bit of a cold streak, but Nick Martinez is not very good. So you can go there. If you're playing White Sox, again, Eloy is 38, Gavin Sheets is 34, Vaughn's like 33. Like they're all super cheap. Eloy obviously 0 for 4 last night, but had a really good series against Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
If you're not buying in on the Simeon Woods Richardson hype here, given his value on tonight's slate, White Sox are the contrarian way to go.
Yeah. I also really like Jerks and Profar there. I know he's been another favorite of yours recently, but I think he's been actually hitting righties better than lefties too so far this season, and he's just hitting super well. So another guy who seems to be having like this weird late career turnaround after being the like failed prospect for years and years there. So yeah, I kind of buy it.
Yep, could get behind that one. I mentioned Gavin Sheets already down here. We'll see if Edward Olivares is in the lineup or not. I gave some stats obviously earlier this season. He had some really big numbers against lefties last year. Hasn't really come through. He's been played sparingly at times this season, but if he does play today, I think there's some potential as part of a Pirate stack to get Olivares in there. I think he hit 4th the last time I had given him a look, and he ended up not having a good game that day. But again, I don't think much of Alex Wood here. And again, last season, Olivares had a pretty big year against lefties playing for the Royals. So there's some potential to keep an eye on there. Pajes continues to hit the ball really well. He's $3,300. Tommy Pham's down here at 32. Jacob Young is someone actually that I like. Howard Bender's got him in the stock watch this week.
Ooh,
dude, 330 average, 6 stolen bases the last 3 games.
Yeah, that's wild. That's some serious speed, which we knew that he had the speed. So if he can continue to keep getting on base the way he is, he'll keep stealing bags.
He's 3,100, giving you 28, 31, and 17 fantasy points.
Whew, yeah,
kind of need to give that a look. Actually, that Nationals lineup just came out. Let's make sure he's playing today. Jacob Young is hitting 9th, so he's back where he usually is, and bottom of the lineup gives him some wraparound up here with Abrams. You do a little Young Abrams wraparound there?
Oh, yeah. I would totally get behind that.
So $3,100, Jacob Young, pretty good spot for him. Joe Adell, again, I played him last night, called him out on the pre-show, and then he homers. Now it's a righty-righty. Yesterday was a righty-lefty, but still some stolen base potential with Adell. He's got 5 steals and 4 homers on the year now. Cutting down on the strikeouts has obviously been key for him this year. So if he can keep the strikeouts down, maybe something against Turnbull for Adell tonight.
Yeah, I mean, Angels crushed my Christopher Sanchez love yesterday, so that hurt me a little bit. But yeah, can't ignore what the Angels lineup is kind of doing right now. Getting the lefties matchups obviously a little better for him, but I think Joe Adell, it looks locked in. So if you're against Turnbull, I think you can go for some of those Angels bats again.
Yeah, and as Justin's saying here, Will Brennan, obviously, again, just the Guardians, if you want to stack Guardians today, again, I like Ramirez and I like Josh Naylor, Steve Kwan. But those guys are all super expensive to be able to fit them in there. A guy like Will Brennan obviously kind of helps you save some salary as part of that stack. Anybody else for you down here in outfield?
No, not especially. Not going to go back to Pete Crow Armstrong with the lefty-lefty matchup, so kind of going to stay away from there. Maybe Alex Call, if where is he in that lineup?
Let's see, that just came out, so he is not in the lineup today.
Okay, I figure there's a good chance he wasn't with the righty, but if he was, it could have been another weird punt play with the Nationals, but never mind.
Sorry, Ken, man, not in the lineup today.
Would have been behind a little bit if he was in there, but not always playing against the righties.
Agreed. All right, let's get a lineup build here. We talked obviously top end and mid tier. We both were in agreement on Logan Webb. Do we do Logan Webb and Simeon Woods Richardson, or do we play one of the top price guys?
I like Simeon Woods Richardson. Let's give us some money in the offense to play with.
All right, so we'll go there. Catcher. Did you want to just play Bailey at 34 against Criswell?
Sure, why not? Especially if we maybe throw some other Giants bats in there with him. But even if not, batting fifth.
Sure. All right, first base. Where do you want to go?
I know we both like Josh Naylor, so I wouldn't mind doing that. We talked up some Guardians quite a bit.
Sure.
Yeah, maybe we look at that. We obviously are gonna have some money to play with. So,
all right, so we'll do Naylor and Ramirez to start then.
Yeah.
And we'll find some value here. I mentioned Tyler Nevin earlier. I'm just gonna plug him in. He's kind of my guy right now. So
do it. Yeah, why not?
There's some money there. So now we got 4,500 to play for the remaining positions, which is a good amount of change. Seeing Cam the Man in here at Larnach, might as well go against Soroka. He's $3,800. Save us a little money, and then Julian, right? Julian's there.
Yeah, 44. Absolutely. Let's see, right. And then for that, let's see. Does our 2-play 9-1 Nationals?
Yeah,
work with that money. That's probably close.
That should definitely play. Where is Adam Abrams 52? Oh yeah, way too much.
Too much money. Actually,
we'll be able to get off Nevin here. Let's go, Jacob Young. And that gives us $3,900 off of Nevin here.
I mean, you could go Jack
Narrow. Did anything connect with the stacks that we got?
Yeah, that's the only problem here. We don't have enough money to get those other Giants bats.
You do Jesse Winker. He's sitting second. If you want to just go all the way through.
9-1-2? Yeah. Why not? Winker's been hitting pretty well.
I'm pretty sure he's hitting second. Yeah, hitting second. 9-1-2. There it is. Got a Nat stack against John Gray here tonight. Wow. Logan Webb, Simeon Woods Richardson, Patrick Bailey, Josh Naylor, Edouard Julian, Jose Ramirez, CJ Abrams, Jacob Young, Trevor Larnach, and Jesse Winker. So we're going a little mini twin stack, Washington stack, Cleveland stack, one off, Patrick Bailey punt at catcher, Logan Webb and Simeon Woods Richardson as an example lineup for everybody here this evening. Again, our favorite stacks, though, we got plenty of them. We're liking the Dodgers, obviously. We like I think that the Guardians are in a really good spot here today. I think you get some contrarian plays with potentially going with Oakland here. Going up against Keller, rather. And the Pirates, obviously, on the flip side of that matchup against Wood, I think could be a bit interesting here. So a lot to get to. Playbooks out. We'll have the updated rostership coming your way here momentarily. We appreciate you all tuning in with us here today. We'll be back again tomorrow. It'll be me and Henry on the show, so be on the lookout for that. Until then, everybody, we'll catch you all later.